Hi Year 10. What we're doing today is solving some equations with fractions. You need to remember that an equation is like a balance. When you take an amount from one side, you need to take the same amount from the other side. Same goes if you're going to multiply both sides by an amount. When we solve an equation with a fraction, we usually want to multiply both sides of the equation by the denominator of the fraction. Let's have a look at an example. Let's solve this equation and we'll try and find the value of a in the first one. So what we want to do is, first of all, we want to get rid of that fraction. To do that, we need to multiply both sides by 3, because a fraction bar, if you think about it, means the same as divide, and we need to do the opposite of that. So if we take 2a, we've got it over 3. And we're multiplying that side by 3. What's going to happen when whatever we do to one side, we're doing the same to the other? On the left-hand side of the equation, those 3's are going to cancel out, because if you think about it, it's 3 divided by 3, and that gives me the answer of 1, which leaves us with a 2a on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we've got 8 times 3, which is 24. Now, to solve that, we need to do the opposite of what's in here. What's really in there is a times sign. If I do the opposite of times, what I'm doing is dividing both sides by 2, which I like to write as a fraction. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other side. Again, my 2's are going to cancel out on this side, and I'm going to get left with an a. On this side, I've got 24 divided by 2, which gives me 12. Now, if we wanted to, we could check that that answer was correct by substituting it in to the original equation. That will give us 2 times 12, which is 24, divided by 3, which gives us 8. So we've done it correct. Let's have a look at number 2. Okay, again, I don't like working with fractions, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to do the opposite of dividing by 7, and I'm going to multiply the left-hand side by 7. And whatever you do to the left-hand side, that needs to be in brackets. You must do, having a bit of trouble writing here, whatever you do to the left, of course, you have to do the same to the right. I'm going to run out of space. So my 7's cancel on the left-hand side. 7 divided by 7 is 1, and I get left with 10x minus 1 on the left, and that equals 8 7's 56 on the right-hand side. Oops. I'm going to go over to the next page. Okay, so to solve that, we need to add 1 to both sides, cancel out that 1. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do the same to the other. That gives me 10x equals 57. And now you can see the answer is not going to be a whole number. It's not very nice. Again, we've got our times sign in between there. To cancel that out, we need to divide this side by 10. And the same to the other side. And that will give me 1x left on the left-hand side, and it's going to give me 5.7. Hopefully you're good with that one. Don't forget you can pause the video at any time. Okay, let's have a look at some harder examples. If we look at number 3, we've got two different denominators. We've got a denominator of 2 and another one of 4. There's a couple of ways we can do this. We can get rid of both of the denominators at once by multiplying by the lowest common multiple, and that's what I would do. So if you think of the lowest number that both 2 and 4 can go into, that would be the number 4. So let's try that. Now, the difference between this example and the last one is that we need to multiply each term by 4. Because we've got two terms on the left. Oops. So we've got 4 times this whole expression, which we need to put in a bracket, plus 4 times this part, and then 4 times the last part. So these 4's are going to cancel out. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 2 goes into 4 twice. And we're left with w plus 7. We can now expand the next bracket. We've got 2 times 3w, that gives us 6w. Got 2 times 1, which gives us 2. And that equals negative 12. Now let's tidy it up a bit. We've got w plus 6w is 7w. We can add the numbers together. Gives us 9. And of course our next step is to subtract 9 from both sides. And that gives us, now I'm down at negative 12 on the number line. I go another 9 in a negative direction. That gives me negative 21. And my last step is to divide both sides by 7. I'm running out of space, so I'm just going to write the final answer is negative 21 divided by 7, which is negative 3. And again, you can check that answer by substituting it back into the original equation. I'm going to keep moving on with example 4. Now, this one is a little different again because we've got that plain 6 stuck out there which doesn't have a denominator. My first step would be to subtract 6 from both sides, and that way it just looks nicer. So you would end up with 3 p minus 3 over 2. Now the 6's have gone away because I've subtracted it, and I got 1 take away 6 on the right hand side, which is negative 5. My next step, of course, is to get rid of that fraction. So I would multiply both sides by 2. Excuse my working out. That gives us 3 with a bracket, and that equals negative 10. Expanding the bracket now gives us 3p. Take away 9. And then our last step, second last step, is to add 9. Always do your plain numbers, not the ones that are attached to the pronumeral. And that gives us -1 on this side. And the last step, I'm going to squash it up the top, is to divide both sides by 3, and that will give us P equals -1/3. I hope you can read my working out. Thanks, guys.